looking pretty fucking solid here. I think I should burn the edges. Like, remember, like, and you did.
Oh
like,
my God, when you would tea stain it and then you would burn the edges. But if you ever, I did that once, burned it too much. You ever have a burn it too much problem?
And then you couldn't.
Yeah, and then it burned like part of the project. Yeah. Oh my God, I was devastated.
Yeah, that
you just brought back an insane memory of mine. No, Natalie, no, why would you do it?
Did the teacher punish you?
Yeah, I was being bad.
No, I meant in a non-criminal way.
Oh, no.
Like, did you get a bad grade on it?
No, I didn't because I cried.
See, that's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do is just cry. No, believe me, there were many a time where crying didn't get me anywhere.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets you everywhere, so I guess it really just depends.
Crying does pay. Most of the time.
I've gotten out of speeding tickets from crying before and saying I had to poop.
Crying and saying you have to poop, it's the perfect cocktail to get out of
it. It is the way to do it. I mean, if you cry and be like, I have to poop so badly.
Or cry and say, I just pooped.
I pooped on me. Me have poop on me. And then it's just sad. Then you're just... They can't get too mad at you. Right, police? I guess I have a certain privilege or something, but maybe I can get out of it.
Poop privilege.
Poop privilege. I'm covered in my own make. Help me.
You're all dirty. Your hands,
You know I hate to be dirty.
Hi, everybody. I'm loving our map for those of us who are watching the video. I'm pretty excited about it.
Natalie, you've been talking up this map for weeks.
Yeah. I got even a pointer.
Oh, God.
But it's really close, and I don't need it.
I feel like we're in 3D now.
Yeah.
Whoa! We just did it toward the camera, but you guys can't see that. You can only hear the whoa!
Just imagine it in your head. Pretty excited to point things out on the map here.
I'm scared of you with the pointer. Can I just put that out there? I'm scared for my life.
The only thing about being a teacher that seems fun. Pointing at stuff.
Yes, and the many generations of people's minds you help form and grow. But also you get screamed at all the time, and I think you get bit more often than you think that you would as a teacher.
We really, seriously,
should be paying these teachers more.
Thank you, teachers. It seems like it is an actual war zone currently to be a teacher.
Yep.
So let's just all have the kids
going back to prison.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we are going back to prison. You're right. We are. Actually, we're coming back from the prison this week. They have just procured some information from the little bone boy.
The little bone boy that could.
He could carve so many things in his cell.
I'm excited because I feel like they've got a lot of like in this episode, we're also going to get into another one of their like big bads. I feel like they have multiple big bads in this book.
So many. Oh my goodness.
It's not just Amarantha anymore.
No. She was simply the beginning of all the other bads. So they have zipped back from the prison, and they're debriefing the inner circle, except for Amren, who's not there. Feyre is still reeling from what she's divulged to the bone carver in an attempt to gain information. Namely, that she admitted that she had planned to die, and that seemingly she only stayed due to wanting to remain with that tether when her neck snapped.
So really, we could say that Rhys kept her, attached to the living.
That's what it seems.
It's what it seems.
Yes. So the group agrees that they must set out to procure the two sides of the book that they have discussed, the Book of Breathings. He reiterates that because Feyre is made of all 7 of the High Lords in a way that she might be able to sense where it is within the Summer Court. But he wants to test this theory before walking all willy-nilly into the Summer Court or the mortal realm. He wants to take Feyre to another place first.
Trixie Rhys.
Always with some test. Many tests.
That's what these Fae do.
Yeah, I guess it's just like you really need to be tested because everything's incredibly dangerous. But why do I still want to go so bad?
You also should get tested if you're out, and you should get tested for STDs as well.
You should. That is,
and don't forget.
yes, that is an important lesson for all of us. And that's what I want you to take away from this episode.
Yes, get tested.
So,
Didn't know I was going to slip in a PSA.
I would like to do multiple every episode. Someone who should have gotten tested for STDs probably is this bitch, the Weaver.
Oh, yeah? What do you think she's got? What do you think she's over there? She's got the clap. Oh, the Weaver's got the clap.
I don't know. Her face, it tells a tale. She's done something.
Well, at least she's not made out of bark.
I'm sorry. Alice is much better than the Weaver. How dare you?
They call me the Weaver.
Although I will say the Weaver as a costume for Halloween would be really badass.
Yes, you always love a costume that you have to explain who you are to every person. Like, oh, well, I'm the Weaver. See, there's this one chapter
Really
in A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Everybody loves that when you have to explain your costume over and over again. So he wants to see if Feyre can discover an object from a trove that this creature called the Weaver keeps. As we learn more about it, I was kind of actually struck with the story from Ozma of Oz, which is one of the books from the Oz series. There's a character in if you've ever seen Return to Oz, that's basically that book.
Man, Return to Oz is so fucked up.
I love it. It's so good. Little baby Frizz.
But it's crazy to me because my husband and my sister-in-law, Natalie, both were obsessed with Return to Oz growing up. And I just recently watched it for the first time. And I was just like, no wonder you both are the way you are. Because of, what are they called? Like the Rollies.
The Wheelers.
The Wheelers, yeah.
But actually, my mom had her childhood version of the Oz books. So I read them growing up my whole life.
Dang.
And they are really messed up.
Yeah.
And awesome. But like there's this one part in Ozma of Oz where there's this character called the Gnome King. He lives under a mountain.
Hello, I'm the Gnome King. Is that how he sounds?
I mean, based on the pictures, yes, he would definitely sound like that. But also he collects tchotchkes in this big collection. And Dorothy
he's just like us.
Yeah, it's just like us. Except his tchotchkes have people trapped inside.
Oh, that's scary tchotchkes.
Yeah, it's a scary tchotchkes. Dorothy has to figure out which ones they are to free them. So it kind of has that vibe to it in the scene. Anyway, Rhys wants Feyre to visit the Weaver with him to test her skills. And Feyre's working on her stand-up comedy, I think, where she's like, the bone carver, the Weaver, can't you just call somebody by their given name?
What is the deal with the Weaver?
Yeah.
Feyre, please. We know that humor is not your strong suit.
Feyre, this is a serious thing, okay? Just stop making jokes. But then Rhys gives her another title. What if she wants to be emissary to the mortal realm?
I do feel like this is a little pandery where he's like, okay. Yes, I'm going to test you again. And yes, it's going to be really scary. But what if we called you the emissary to the mortal realm and we make up, like, I feel like if I was Feyre in this situation, we'd be like, you just made that up. You're just making this up as you go along. Don't try to appease me. I'm going to do it. You don't need to call me the emissary to the mortal realm.
I mean, if he just like stood there with his hands in his pockets, like giving me like a little side grin, I'd be like, okay.
I mean, yeah. I say this as if I would be able to resist Rhys in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, yeah, so I'll do that.
Sure, yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. As a human turned fae, he does have a point that she may be the best bet they have at convincing the humans to listen to the warnings they have about the upcoming war and, help build their trust. Although, I don't know, that seems maybe scarier that if you used to be a human, turned into a fae, I'd be like, well, how do I do? I want it.
Yes.
I don't want you to talk. I would tell me how to do what you're doing.
You're doing, but now I got to go talk to them for you? I'm new.
Yeah. So, in fact, they're going to need a place to set up a meeting with the mortal queens. Feyre pretty immediately says that they can use her family's estate. The inner circle makes it very clear that it may be uncomfortable to convince her sisters, but the alternative is mass death. So she's probably really got to try to make this work with the Archeron. The Archeron gals.
Oh my God. And I do wish that the mortal queens were from Queens. Like they all showed up and they were all like Rosie Perez. And be like, oh, well, I am scared of double stepping them, but I guess we're going to work with them.
Yeah.
They just show up and they're all,
The nanny.
Yes, like the nanny, yes.
Aw.
Yeah, you want to be a human. You used to be. That's not the nanny. I don't know who that is. I don't know what that was. And I'm sorry it came out of my mouth. I can't take it back.
I love it. I think you should do that impersonation all the time. So she's still kind of acclimating herself to the night court, into this inner circle. But notably, she's sleeping through the night, even after that really traumatic experience with the bone carver. And it's like, she has nightmares still, but she slept and she's eaten, which is also another thing, because she was not eating anything at the spring court, which is definitely an improvement to the all-night toilet party she was having.
Just waking up and puking. I mean, I haven't done that. I guess I was in my early 20s the last time I did that, same age, but it wasn't out of trauma. It was just from Jaeger.
Yeah, it was mostly out of just like self-destruction. So a moment later, as if Rhys has been waiting to hear a sense of her stirring from slumber, he barrels into her room carrying a knife holster for her to wear. He starts rummaging through the drawers in her room and pulls out the Illyrian fighting leather she's been provided, along with her boots.
Wow.
The interaction is slightly hurried and tense. She's about to walk into a very dangerous situation until he very bodily pulls out some lingerie from a drawer, taunting her with it. She reacts offended, but there's a clear juvenile type flirtation going on there, even though neither want to admit it.
It really is. It does, again, make me think of like in middle school when I would just slap the back of the kid's head in front of me because I wanted to kiss him.
Yeah.
And it's very just like, stop. You're terrible. Yeah. You're so bad.
Yeah. That's sort of the interaction they're having, which is,
I'm into it.
Yeah, no, it definitely like sparks like a little nostalgia of a time, when you were young.
I used to flirt. I used to be young.
It's much better in memory. When it's happening, it's very nerve-wracking and stressful and all that. It's just more fun to think about it.
Oh, yeah, because I don't really want to be like having those flutters again. The does he like me flutters. Like, I'm just glad to know I got one in the bag and now I can go, hey, big boy. And then he knows that means I'm ready to have sex.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's it. That's my pickup line.
It's like you ring a little bell.
Yeah, I go, come here and do my bidding.
Ding-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling.
Between my legs with you.
So,
to be honest, I don't ring a bell, and that's not how it is.
I know. Well, I don't know, but I assume Jeff has dignity. She, it's that juvenile, like she gets offended about it and she's like, oh, he's like holding up her panties and being like, oh, what's this? And then, as the reader.
Stop, Rhys.
Yeah. So we as the reader, as Feyre often ponders, doesn't really know if he's making advances or just trying to distract her from her fear because he did that over and over again to keep her alive before.
Either way.
Yeah, sure. Take it. She changes in the bathroom and when she walks out, he's waiting, holding that strappy holster thing she's going to wear to step in. And he has her like stretched out, like ready for her to step into. And he kneels down before her. Something that is very sexy if the person doing it is somebody you're interested in.
Yeah.
And very creepy and annoying if it's someone you don't like and is wanting to help you get dressed.
Oh my God, I would be so angry if it was someone that I wasn't into. Be like, give me that. I know how to put my clothes on, thanks.
Let me help you strap this to your thighs.
Ew,
man.
get away from me. The only one that helps strap me into my clothes is my sister-in-law, Natalie. Because Natalie strapped me into this corset earlier, and now my breasts are up to my teeth.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it could be like neutral on a set or something. But anyway, Rhys was sliding his hands up her thighs to tighten the harness around her legs, which Feyre is trying very hard to ignore. It doesn't seem like it's because she doesn't like him. So I don't know why she's like trying to not think about it. It's weird.
Can you imagine the throbbing of your loins? When you feel the pulse inside of your labias?
It'd be really it would be hard and as a fae because they can all sense each other's arousal.
I know they can smell their arousal, which that I try to gloss over because I think that would really creep me out. I think that's one of the few things about being the Fae, which obviously we're going to become Fae Bays. Get down. When we all become Fae, it's going to be really hard for people to smell our sex.
I think the way I envision it, it's not because it doesn't smell like sex itself. It's just like their scent changes. That's what I would like to envision.
I hope
like
so.
You're not just smelling ball sack.
I hope so.
I hope so too, Jackie.
But can you imagine all the time, every room you'd walk into, just being able to smell somebody's ball sack?
No.
It's difficult being a Fae. You know what? Maybe it's for the best we're human.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm dressed as Elaine today, so I don't actually have the ears on because I am a human.
Oh, yes, you are a human. I'm just a wench, I guess. I'm just a Fae wench right now. Oh, yeah, I forgot to put my ears on.
Oh, my God.
I'm not a Fae.
You're a lesser Fae.
Ouch.
Well,
ouch.
It's just because their ears aren't pointy.
All right, I'm
Maybe
just
you're an
regular.
Illyrian.
Oh, no, my wings got clipped.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have wings on.
Yep.
Those bastards. But I'll still have sex with Cassian.
We're still canon, don't worry.
Yes.
So as he's adjusting things, he informs her a little more about what she's walking into, though Feyre only has a vague sense of what's to come. He instructs her not to make a sound and to not touch anything other than Rhys's object. It's reminiscent of that Gnome King scene in Ozma, if anybody's ever read those books. So she has to sort through these random treasures, basically, to find that very specific one that connects to Rhys. And that's the only way that she's not going to die, I guess.
This is quite the test. Man, these Fae put you into such scary situations. Just be like, ooh, let's hope you make it, or else this is just the end of the series. So we obviously know she's going to make it through.
Yeah.
Or do we?
I mean, I think Maas is really good at putting really horrible, traumatic situations throughout the books. Like, it's not just, oh, everybody's okay now at the end. So I think that at least it's very anxiety-inducing.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So he's
It
explaining.
makes for a great book. It's like
Absolutely.
it's such these series are such page turners.
They really are. A lot of you have said that you were trying to read weekly and then you just like gave up.
Kept reading, which I understand, but thank you for still listening.
Yes. So he's explaining all of this to her while he's strapping her all in, and
Rhys looked up, hands braced on my thighs.
that vision of him in front of her takes her back to a memory of when Rhys commanded Tamlin to bow before him when he was wearing his mask of cruelty in front of her.
And now here he was, on his knees before me. His eyes glinted as if he remembered it too. On his knees before me. All right. Man, just think of the sex smell in this room right now. He's just between her, and she's just like, oh, I guess that's what I have to deal with later on. It's just the scent, and he's got to go scrape himself off.
Oh my God. No, they smell good.
They smell good.
Anyway, almost certain death ahead. Right. Let's get out of this sex thing. Oh, don't
more
talk about
sex
anymore. He goes on to inform her that if she picks the correct item, the spells he put on it would be the same as her. Though he's rather unclear what he means by that, but basically says that whatever the spell is on this item will match her. He warns her, though, that the blind, wicked, ancient creature the Weaver is deadly dangerous.
Call me the Weaver. I just feel like it should be in a song. What is that song? And need a low and high. Call me the Weaver. I have to look it up, or else it's going to drive me crazy.
What you're talking about.
Seeker? They call me the Seeker. It's by The Who.
Oh, it's The Who.
I've been searching low and high. That's the Weaver.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that song fits.
Sometimes I get hung up on things, you know? I think it's like an ADHD thing, and then I can't think of anything until I know it. And yes, they call me the Weaver. And she's been searching low and high. But she can't see.
She can't see. So, I mean, I bet you she still can search low and high.
Yeah, good for her.
Good for her.
I mean, she's looming. She's over there weaving.
She is.
She sees with her fingers.
She does see with her fingers. So that is what Rhys actually warns Feyre of, that she must be quiet and fast and she should be able to get away. As she looks at him incredulously, he questions whether she would be happier if he dressed her in petticoats and planned his parties for him.
Whoa, Tamlin much?
Yeah. And then, she says, go to hell.
Go to hell.
She wants to know why he doesn't go get this object himself if it's so important. Rhys tells her that she would be able to that Weaver would be able to detect him. But since she herself, Feyre, is made and not a High Lord, she won't be detectable. During this back and forth.
How does he know this, though?
Well, we learn later on he's kind of not being fully transparent about what he actually did. So during this back and forth, he remains on his knees in front of her, and she certainly seems to be noticing every movement his hands make on her legs. As the scene ends, she says, so I'm your huntress and thief?
His hands slid down to cup the backs of my knees, as he said, with a roguish grin.
You are my salvation, Feyre.
Goosh, goosh, goosh.
So,
just between, he's between her knees.
Oh man, the scene gets me.
Yeah.
So, chapter 20 opens on Feyre and Rhys having winnowed to an ancient-looking forest. Where are we?
I breathed, hardly daring to whisper. Rhys kept his hands within casual reach of his weapons.
In the heart of Prythian, there is a large, empty territory that divides the north and south. At the center of it is our sacred mountain. So this means they are just east of Under the Mountain. Oh!
Ah! She's got the pointer! Someone help me!
Here we have Under the Mountain. It's right above the Winter Court. And the Weaver's Cottage is right over here on the east side of Prythian. So we can all see that.
So it's between the Winter Court and the Dawn Court.
And that's where they are now. This startles Feyre for obvious reasons. Perhaps gives the forest a more ominous feeling to it now that she knows she's right where she was held captive. This is sort of a pirate land within Prythian. There's no High Lord here. It's sort of a lawless strip of land. Nothing but the Weaver, monkey knife fights, and L. Ron Hubbard with a boat full of people's children.
I would hope not. Where are they going to find the boat in the middle of the mountains?
He just puts it in on the trees. And pretends.
Okay, so he just nestles the children in there.
Yeah.
Like birds. And then does he chew up and spit into their mouths too?
Yeah, it's like a little nest of other people's kids. So Feyre is beginning to get a bit distressed at this turn of events. Rhys tries to change the subject. He tells her that Cassian actually tried to prevent him from bringing her here and suggests that it may be because he wants to fuck her.
Well, that Cassian wants to fuck her. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd watch that tape.
Feyre sees this as maybe a bit of a test. And I have to agree with her here. This is 101 trying to figure out if your crush likes you.
I know. I'm surprised that she's not like he didn't hand her a letter that's just like, Rhys, yes or no. And make her circle it.
Did you ever do that as a kid, though? If you liked a boy, I remember doing that to this boy I had this massive crush on. And my friend, who was like always considered prettier than me, I went up to him and was like, do you like Dadia? Because I don't know. She's like pretty cool. Like testing him, and then they started dating.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can't tee him up. You can't tee him up expecting not for the home run to be happening.
Yeah.
Is that what I said?
I think that was my only way as a 14-year-old to try to get information of whether or not he liked me without directly asking.
So I did this many times, and many times it backfired, and how many times I was put into the friend zone.
Yeah.
And that's how 101 of getting into the friend zone is what happens.
Yeah. No, it happened. I was devastated, and I did it.
You should go kiss Cassian instead, shouldn't you, Feyre?
Yeah. So...
But also, okay.
I mean,
if I had my pick of the bat litter. It does sound like bat shit.
Yes, that does sound like guano. So Feyre, she's sort of like, it's almost baiting a little bit, and she's not going to take the bite. So She says, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, sure. Why don't you? Tell him to come to my room tonight.
Damn.
Rhys plays right along. He tells her he'll let Cassian know. Good,
I said. A bit of hollowed out air pushed against me, like a flicker of night. That power along my bones and blood stirred in answer.
Before she can continue, he grabs her chin and he asks her if she enjoyed the sight of him kneeling before her. I do feel I get like a little kid when I'm reading these scenes. I'm just like,
because I feel the flutter. I mean, you should have seen, again, the first time, even just rereading ACOTAR, the second Rhys showed up, and I was just like, it's him. He's got violet eyes.
He's got violet eyes. He's here. But before that scene can go any further, they've arrived at her very dangerous situation.
A small whitewashed cottage with a thatched roof and half-crumbling chimney sat in the center. Ordinary, almost mortal. There was even a well, its bucket perched on the stone lip, and a wood pile beneath one of the round windows of the cottage. No sound or light within, not even smoke puffed from the chimney.
So this is the archetype of the witch in the woods, which is as old as storytelling. And many philosophers and historians attribute this to the fear of women, especially ones living
Good. Yeah.
Especially the ones living outside the chastity of marriage and motherhood.
Yeah. I love it.
I do too. Of course, the best. Based upon
and also watch The Witch.
Became a witch.
I just became a witch. I wish, man. No, watch The Witch though.
Oh
Talk
my
about
God.
oh my God, getting
best.
into just like the fear. But then you think about it and how much of it stems from just being scared of the forest, and then they like have put it into as well.
A fair fear.
Which is very like back then watching The Witch. I'm like, yeah, I'd be scared of that too.
Maybe more of a practical fear than just being afraid of a woman who has her like tits out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
She doesn't have children. She must be a harlot of some sort.
They're not wrong. So
it's just because we have the time to be a harlot.
it's true. Based upon which form of storytelling, it usually involves either a young, buxom woman who's trying to tempt the poor, helpless man with her sexuality only to destroy him. Some examples being the nymph or the witch Circe from the Odyssey. My favorite ballet, Giselle, the second act consists of dead, beautiful young women who lure men into the woods to kill them.
Love it.
They're called the willies, which is where you know that term. You're giving me the willies.
Oh.
That's where that comes from.
So the willies are just beautiful young women who lure men into the woods to kill them?
The premise of the ballet is that all of those women died on their wedding night, and now they hate men, and they come to take them into the forest and kill them.
Damn.
Giselle's so great. The first act ends with her killing herself.
Spoiler alert, Natalie for the ballet.
It's my favorite.
No wonder it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Should I warn Henry?
And actually, my role when I did Giselle was the queen of the willies.
Whoa.
So I was the boss making all the other ones do all the killing.
It's interesting that it is a word for a picker.
I think that separately happened. I don't think it's like
okay.
the same etymology.
Oh, okay.
Which is also there's things like the succubus, the mermaid, kelpie, selkie, siren. Not all those dwell in the woods, but they're always trying to lure men. Or the other side of it is the withered old crone, often in the forest, whose hatred of the status quo has sent her to madness or magic or both, and she will eat or murder any who trespass.
Yeah.
Some core characters in history and folklore are the Baba Yaga from Slavic folklore, which is described
Is that
as
like John Wick? Different.
different. She's cool, though. Sometimes she's considered a good guy in some of the lore, but she's like described as what you would think of as a witch, but she has bird's legs. This is also how the Greek harpy is described. There are so many types of this witch in the woods that I'm not going to fill the episode with them, but there's archetypes that are explored in length in the classic feminist philosophy book Women Who Run with Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. really interesting if you ever want to go down that path. Interestingly, Feyre...
I do want to go down that path. I'm going to start luring men into the forest to kill them.
I meant learn about it, but I guess
learn
you could
about
also...
learn how, you know what? I didn't know what my career was going to be. I was like, this can't be it.
Yeah.
Now I've got bigger men to fry, and I'm excited for it.
You can go to live in Griffith Park off the trail. And you have to lure them with a song, though. Like,
oh, so it has to be like a folk, like a creepy song. People are like, oh, where is that impish voice coming from?
Yeah, and then you go,
oh man, I can dislocate my jaw.
Yeah.
Like in Krampus, like the puppet in Krampus, and then I'll just like swallow them whole.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well,
all right. I want to be a fae, and then I want to be that, whichever one of these that is.
Yep. It's so many. You can become one of the new archetypes.
Oh my
Jackie.
God, the Jackie. But I would have my corset where my breasts are up to my teeth.
Of course.
How else am I supposed to get them in?
So interestingly, though, Feyre continues to hype herself up by calling herself a wolf in this scene, and that's an interesting connection to that book of the archetypes like this. Another great and interesting read is The House of Psychotic Women.
It sounds like when we lived together.
I mean, technically, that is what it is about.
Really?
Well, no.
Sissies?
No, it's about, this woman who, I'm going to butcher her name, but Kier Janice, she's Canadian. This book just came out in 2015, and it takes an in-depth analysis of the shamed women who loses her mind in a film. So it tackles all of the movies where a woman's gone mad, basically.
Oh, it's because I was at the low point in my life when we lived together.
Well, it's more about like all of us women having, shifts in life. A lot of times we go a little bit crazy.
Yeah, man.
And you were fine. You were actually very easy to live with.
Oh, thank you.
I've had a lot of roommates. You're not even close to the top of the worst.
That's awesome to hear, because I didn't feel very good about it at the time.
You were doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fun time.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm all married up. Now I'm one step closer to not being one of these crone women that Clarissa wrote about.
I mean, still kind of sounds fun.
I just can't wait to be one.
I know. So you should definitely check out some of this woman's book if you think this is an interesting subject. She also directed a really cool documentary called Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, which is about folklore and folk tales and horror. Folk horror, basically. It's really long. It was on Shudder. I'm not sure if it's still there, but you should totally watch it. And if you are not a subscriber of Shudder and you like horror, you're missing out, by the way.
We do not work for Shudder, but it's like $5.99 a month, and you get so many horror movies and so many ones that you've never even heard of, and so many great classic shit
and they also now like produce and distribute new movies that are incredible.
Yes.
But they have a huge range of folk horror there. Totally. If you think about stuff like oh my God.
Hagazusa?
No. Yeah, but
yes, I love Hagazusa.
I want to call it the Burning Man. That's not what it is. Wicker Man. Thank you. Burning Man's different. If you think of like,
I know about Burning Man, and that is scary. Honestly, no, thank you.
Yeah. If you do like that kind of this kind of imagery, like the stuff like Wicker Man, there's a lot of it on Shudder. Maas has used a bit of both of these archetypes in The Weaver, as we'll see, both the buxom like maiden and the old crone. Feyre describes the little cottage as peaceful and even welcoming, as a light feminine humming is coming from inside. Bee, 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 boop, boop, beep, bop, bop, beep, bop, boop. That
Wouldn't that draw you in?
No, definitely not.
Hearing that coming from a cottage, you'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to go in there.
Actually, for Gen Z, it would be great because they'd be like, whatever's in there's going to be sick TikTok.
Yeah.
So you would lure them in.
Feyre would be making a TikTok while she goes into the Weaver, be like, oh shit, I got to be quiet.
So Rhys does not reveal any other information about what's to come and just sort of retreats back into the woods. She's now left to her wits. This feels a lot like the gingerbread house, not the candy and sweets, but, hoping to elicit a lulling sort of complacency to the people nearby. Like, I guess you would call it a trap? As she approaches, she hears the humming turning into a light singing, like something you would do to pass the time, scrubbing the clothes or cleaning the dishes. It's a nursery rhyme that Feyre recognizes and reflects on how humans have no idea that they're singing a fairy song, much like we often don't know the origins of our own nursery rhymes. So, feeling dread, she creeps through the door and finds a hoarder.
Books, shells, dolls, herbs, pottery, shoes, crystals, more books, jewels. From the ceiling and wood rafters hung all manner of chains, dead birds, dresses, ribbons, gnarled bits of wood, strands of pearls.
The weaver is described as young and elegant, graceful, but her back is turned to Feyre as she works a spinning wheel, something else we're very familiar with through Sleeping Beauty, which is a fairy tale that came from a folk tale and was popularized by Perrault, which is the earlier French version of the Brothers Grimm.
See, it also makes me think of Rumpelstiltskin, and Rumpelstiltskin was one of the few ones that I was always scared of. That's like a folk tale that still creeps me out.
Yeah, totally. It's also spinning wheels in the adaptation of the folktale Rumpelstiltskin, and the Brothers Grimm popularized that. It's a German-based folktale. That is a little creepy little man. Very much like a leprechaun kind of character.
Yeah.
But
a friend with weed is a friend indeed.
Not that one. Not that one. So
I love Lep in the Hood.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Do you know there was a second Leprechaun in the Hood?
I know, because a couple years ago, Jeff and I watched all of the Leprechaun movies for Halloween, because we usually choose a franchise similarly to what you and Henry do as well. And we watched them all.
Man, it's a rough go.
Wow. There's a lot more Leprechaun movies than you think.
A lot. So yeah, we think of the spinning wheel from Sleeping Beauty, which actually was really more well known from the ballet adaptation and then turned into the Disney, using all of the ballet's music as the music from the Disney movie. Very, very famous trope of the spinning wheel and the woman at the, weaving. So as Feyre makes her way further into the bric-a-brac, the weaver's nursery rhyme gets progressively more gruesome. So I want you to take this away, Jackie. SJM says her voice is like glittering gold.
So she's singing it, right?
But what did he do with her breastbone? He made him a viol to play on. What did he do with her fingers so small? He made pegs to his viol withal.
Light Jamaican accent.
It was dusted. It was dusted with an accento. Well, the weaver lives out in the woods. I don't know what kind of accento she's got.
You're right. I love it. This immediately reminds me of the poems in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out,
the
man.
Her song. That's what it made me think of immediately. That is just the perfect children's horror book series.
Talk about another thing that still creeps me out.
Yeah.
The pictures from that, I mean, specifically the woman that had the spider bite on her face, and then the picture is her aghast as all the millions of spiders are crawling out of the gape in her face.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. I can't wait to scare my children.
Yeah, you got to. Those books are so good.
Yeah, dude.
I forgot, too, when I was looking this up, that it had piano, score you can follow and teach yourself to play to accompany the lyrics, which is rad. And I looked up where the Her song came from, and it was actually a folk song, and it was popular during World War I. But this is the poem that this weaver singing reminds me a lot of that sort of gruesome nursery rhyme. I know I'm going on all tangents today, but the scene reminded me so many elements of so many elements of folklore. I got really excited.
We got to get into it, dude. And I know that you're not referencing the Taylor Swift folklore album, which is for the best. Maybe I just confused you with my other co-host for a second.
I'm not Holden.
No,
I'm a pretty lady.
Although Holden would look great in this fashion that you've got on, dressed as Elaine.
I'd watch him wear it. Maybe if I have him do one of the readings, I'll have him dress up.
Oh, please. We'll put elf ears on him. Elf ears, Jackie, fairy ears.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. You should put me into the boo box. I feel like there should be some sort of punishment for me.
Well, maybe they would become elf ears if Holden had them on his ears.
Yeah, that's true.
Feyre realizes with horror that it appears as though the weaver is using something other than wool for thread, something instead quite gruesome. She tries to ignore the weaver and scans the room for something that spikes her interest.
It does make me think of, were you told as a child that tennis rackets were made out of cat intestines?
I believe I have heard that.
And I'm assuming that is lie.
I think that maybe initially, like a long time ago, they could.
Really? Cat guts?
I'm going to just say yep.
Damn.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. You learn something new every day.
No. The weaver continues to sing her progressively more gory song. And as she's looking around, as Feyre's looking around, she starts to ruminate on Rhys's flirtations. And girl, I don't know if this is the time to be having a Carrie Bradshaw-esque internal dialogue.
Right?
While she's looking around for something before this monster attacks her. She's like, I had to ask myself, was Rhys dripping with desire for me, or was I just a big drip?
Great line.
as this deranged monster is spinning people's intestines or whatever next to her, and she's just like, does he like me?
God, does he like me? Because I feel like he likes me as a friend, but does he like me?
But I guess yet making this distraction is all she needs, because she's thinking about Rhys, suddenly she feels an object calling to her. Have you come to claim me at last?
A ring of twisted strands of gold and silver, flecked with pearl and set with a stone of deepest solid blue. Sapphire, but different.
She doesn't fully seem to know how, but she knows that this is what Rhys has sent her in here for. Carefully, cautiously, she reaches for the ring. And even though Rhys says that she will be fine as long as she is silent, the weaver immediately hears her. Fairies do not offer useful or applicable advice, is what I am gleaning.
Yes.
From these books. Who is in my house?
She said softly.
As Feyre scrambles to the front door, only to realize there's no handle or latch or anything to open the door, she backs up, having to realize she has to face the weaver.
Above her young, supple body, beneath her black, beautiful hair, her skin was gray, wrinkled and sagging and dry. And where eyes should have gleamed, instead lay rotting black pits. Her lips had withered to nothing but deep, dark lines around a hole full of jagged stumps of teeth, like she had gnawed on too many bones. Nice, yeah. Usually I slurp on them. I don't gnaw on them as such, but Weaver, you do you, girl.
I would love to see this scene on film so badly. Man, I want to see. And I'm worried that they're not going to do ACOTAR in a good way, and then they're never going to get to the good books.
No, don't. We can't put that into. We have to manifest. It's going to be so amazing that they're going to make every single book, and we're going to fall in love with it.
Yay. Thank you. And also, ACOTAR is a good book. I didn't mean to say that. The Weaver, still calm and serene, begins calling out for Feyre. But Feyre is no mouse. She is a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And she grabs a burning candle and launches it at her collection.
No!
The dry cloth.
That's not even fair, because that's not even all the Weaver's stuff, because people leave their stuff with the Weaver. So technically, Feyre, not nice.
Oh, wow. Other people's property.
Yes.
So the dry cloth around her goes up in flames, and the Weaver's facade fully breaks. She shrieks and wails, and Feyre scrambles in a panic to find an exit, only to realize the chimney is the only way out. Ah! She's going to have to perform a reverse Santa.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be given the presents instead of getting the presents.
Yep.
Sexy.
Sex stuff.
Sex.
Feyre lunges into the fireplace and begins to climb.
But my shoulders scraped against the brick, and it reeked in here, like carrion and burned hair, and there was an oily sheen on the stone, like cooked fat.
Ew.
Yuck. I would hate to be in this chimney. You would not
like it. It'd be really dirty in there. She's halfway up when the Weaver's rotted face appears from below, just out of grabbing Feyre reach. But Feyre's now stuck. stuck and panicking.
Mm-hmm.
This is a literal nightmare scenario. I mean, this would be a thing that would happen in my dreams where it's a perfect anxiety cocktail of like not being able to move your arms and something's underneath you and you're covered in like slime.
Ew. And also the house is on fire. So on top of that, like, and that's the only place where the smoke can come out. So just think you're also being just like barraged by smoke.
Ugh. No. None of that, please. She's trapped and panicked, which is the last thing you should do in a situation like that if you want to get out. Stop. A voice says in her head. At first, I thought it was going to be Rhys, but it's her voice.
Oh my God, she can take care of her own damn self.
She's saving herself. Yay. She's like, oh yeah, I got big old dumb brute face strength. Crash, crash, crash.
Yeah.
She starts beating against the sides of the chimney.
She Hulk smashes through the chimney.
She does, which is awesome. She loosens a brick and hurls it down into the face of the weaver. She screams and black blood explodes from her broken head.
Nice!
She claws and scrapes and pulls just like Beatrix Kiddo when she's getting buried alive and finds herself out, level with the roof.
I didn't dare stop. Not as I reached the lip and hauled myself out, tumbling onto the thatched roof, which was not thatched with hay at all, but hair.
So awesome. Such a good image. I don't know if this was part of another folktale, nothing that I could find, but it's such a great, disgusting visual that it's just like all these scalps making tufts of hair.
Yuck. No, this is a very genuinely scary scene.
Mm-hmm. The weaver is screeching and raging, still looking for Feyre outside of the hut. Feyre jumps from the roof to the trees nearby, flinging her body from branch to branch as she makes distance from the weaver's screams. Further and further until that son of a bitch Rhys is before her, just having lounged on a tree branch during all of this, that cocky bastard. He sweeps her up before they can even have a conversation and winnows her back to the House of Wind, or rather right outside of it midair, where he free falls with her and then flaps his wings open and flies them both through the window to a war room, where Cassian and Amren are mulling over something. I want to be a fairy. So bad.
Winnow me and fly me, baby. Fly me to the Faemon, baby.
I want to be a fairy.
Yep. We will be someday.
Yay.
Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys.
Yeah.
If we just get the ears actually implanted into our ears, then maybe we'll be Fae.
Is that, yeah, let's try it. Let's give it a shot.
Why not?
We can use some of the skin from our butt.
No! I love my butt!
We can use the skin of somebody else's butt.
Okay, well, yeah, different butt.
Okay.
Big ears.
Big old ears. Feyre is rightfully furious that Rhys would throw her into this danger, but he shrugs it off. You didn't die. You figured out how to get yourself out. And while in our normal boring world, this would be a very sadistic thing to do, he's got a point that she will need to face great and terrible dangers if she is to help them in this war. And she's made it clear that she intends on doing so. In fact, begged to be let out of the comforts of the Spring Court.
Technically, this is actually what she was asking for.
Yes.
Was like this type of like, lean on me and like I want the adventure and I want to be able to continue to help.
I want to help.
And
yeah.
So as much as like I wouldn't want to be in this situation, she kind of does want to be in this situation.
Yeah, you never would have said, I want to fight in this war. You would have said, no, I'm good.
No, I'm just going to play in the parties. Let me play in the parties. I will play in grape and think of the food that I will make sure are at said parties.
Oh, it's Fae food too.
Oh my God. That's just so much better than our boring, dull human food.
I know. I mean, it's probably assumed by the reader that Rhys would have gotten her and saved her if she was truly about to be killed.
But I don't know, dude.
I don't think he would have let her die. But in Feyre's head, we hear what almost sounds like disappointment, because she reflects on how, of course, he needs me to help myself out. He needs me to get that book. Almost like she doesn't believe he cared enough about her to save her if she failed. Rhys's aloof.
We can't make this girl happy.
I know.
Sometimes I'm like, no, he's trying to work with you. And he's like saying that he believes in you to a point that you could take care of yourself.
I think what maybe we're kind of getting half revealed in her thoughts is that was hoping that he cared for her personally. And then she's like, oh, he doesn't. He would have let me die.
But this is young bitches' thoughts,
Yeah.
you know? This is no, when you're dating in your 30s, you're definitely like, he must love me. You must be with me now.
So Rhys's aloofness causes Cassian to call him a prick, but he concedes that he would have also trained her in this way. But Feyre's still angry.
I looked at my hands, my nails bloody and cracked, and I said to Cassian,
I want you to teach me how to fight, to get strong, if the offer to train still stands. We learn in this interaction that the ring that she retrieved was Rhys's mother's, and that he didn't actually lose it, but his mother gave it to the Weaver to be retrieved. More madness that Feyre doesn't understand, and she certainly doesn't receive an explanation about. Before it can go any further, Rhys winnows her back to her room where a hot bath is waiting for her.
Nice.
But Rhys isn't ready to let her relax. What about...
Get between her legs. You should get between her legs again.
Not this time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What about her training all of her other powers? He challenges her to try to get past his mental shield, but she's not having it. She almost just got turned into roof hair, for Christ's sake. But he taunts her. You feel it, don't you?
He said over the burbling and chittering garden birds.
Your power stalking under your skin, purring in your ear. So what if I do?
Yes.
He comments about how surprised he is that Ianthe hasn't carved her up to see her powers. Feyre wants to know what his problem is with Ianthe, as he's shown quite a distaste for her from the beginning. He's vague at first, but says that the priestesses have become corrupted by their own power, selfish and greedy. She presses him, and he teases that he'll tell her if she gets past his shields. She can't. It's too hard, but he lets her in anyway. She notes how his shield of black adamant, which I also just realized, isn't that what her shield is made of as well in her head? Interesting.
Maybe it came from the land of night.
It might have. I also wanted to see what adamant was, because we currently use that word in like modern society as an adjective. You know, like he was adamant about it.
Oh, but it must be like stone.
Yeah, but I know I've heard it used as a noun before. It turns out that it's not actually a real rock, but it's like a legendary mineral, which is like a pretend strong rock that doesn't exist.
So it's different than Dwayne Johnson.
He might be made of adamant.
I mean, he's got a thick neck.
We gotta knock on it and see what kind of sound it makes.
I'm not knocking on it. I feel like he wouldn't enjoy that very much.
What's in there, mister?
Come on, you got something in there?
So it's a made up substance, basically. And then the more you know.
Ah.
So she brushes a hand on his rock hard adamant. And
like a mountain cat arching into a touch, it seemed to purr and then relaxed its guard.
He then allows her into like an antechamber of his mind. We're taken into a vision, a memory that Rhys holds in his head. We're in a bedroom of his in the Court of Nightmares, and Ianthe is laying on his bed completely nude. It's clear immediately that Rhys did not invite her into his room. Get out, he says to his memory of Ianthe. She continues to play. Well, she's not playing coy. She just straight up spreads her legs open and is like, get in here, sailor.
It's a little aggressive.
It's a little like non-consent.
Yeah, it's very yucky. I do think it's interesting that the priestesses in this world, not all of them, but at least the ones that we've gotten to know so far, are the opposite of what like a nun would be in our human world, where they're actually very sexual creatures that like seem to gain some of their power by using their
sexuality.
Yes.
Because there have been nuns who've done terrible things that have used their sexuality, but they don't openly wear it on their boobs. You know what I mean?
Or spread their legs open like a buffet to get what they want.
I'm sure some nuns done that somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're married to God, so isn't that you got to put out, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
I think so. I think that's like how you graduate nun college.
Do you masturbate then to have sex with your husband, God?
I don't think you're supposed to, but you know they're doing it.
I think it's sad. I think they should masturbate.
I do too. So he continues to make it clear that he has no interest in her and that she needs to leave. And I mean, the audacity to just go into somebody's private quarters and assume so much.
Yeah,
she's
it's
being a
real
creep.
yuck, man.
She ignores him and continues to make suggestive gestures. Feyre feels
Just pointing at her
literally
pussy,
tries
essentially.
to she basically tries to touch herself. Feyre feels his rage and can hear how he internally contemplates splattering her against the wall. It's clear that he knows her to be known to do this already. We don't get a sense he's surprised or trying to spare her feelings. He forcefully pins her arm down as she basically tries to start masturbating. She shifts motives here and tells him that she would make a very powerful partner to him, that they could rule together. He thinks about the best motive to deal with her here, again, acknowledging that she will be a problem for a long time and it could be easier to just kill her. He tries again. Get out of my bed, get out of my room, and get out of my court.
Lay it down, Rhys.
Because he's now close to her, she uses her unpinned hand to try to reach between his legs.
Ugh.
And he uses his considerable strength to crush the bones in her hand using magic. And I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, dude.
Feyre can feel that his power could wipe her out of existence in half a second, but instead he breaks her hand that was trying to touch him non-consensually. The next time you touch me or anyone in my lands, you will find that the rest of you will not fare so well.
Yeah, Rhys. Yeah, you tell it. Not in my house.
It's him saying me or anyone in my court that hits home here, because it's clear that this priestess has a reputation for Roman hands.
Yes.
If you'll recall, she also had her sights set on Lucien, which Feyre will remember as well and feel sick over. The memory ends with Rhys throwing her out of his room and slamming the door. Feyre is pulled back out of Rhys's head and into the present room. She asks when this was, and he tells her it was 100 years ago. He said that she'd visited after telling him she wanted to strengthen the ties between the Night Court and the priestesses. Remember, on top of all of that, to the outside world, Rhysand is a monster, an evil torturer, and Ianthe saw that and said, I'd love a peace.
So she's not good.
She's not a good. Feyre realizes that it was only 50 years later that Rhys was trapped under another woman, and it fills her with pain. Feyre wants to console him, but it seems unleashing this memory has haunted him enough that he vanishes from the room.
Ugh. But he's letting her in more and is trying to open up more.
He's revealing himself, and which is to show that he does trust her and wants her to trust him. In the opening of chapter 22, Mor is lounging in Feyre's room in a very human-like manner, where Feyre is going through her clothes and Mor is laid across Feyre's bed watching and chatting. They're preparing for the inner circle to go to the mortal realm and to try to appeal to Feyre's sisters to help them with the queens. Mor wants to know how humans dress these days, since she hasn't been there since she fought in the Grey War 500 years ago.
I rifled through the clothes in my armoire.
Layers,
I said.
They cover everything up. The décolletage might be a little daring, depending on the event, but everything else gets hidden beneath skirts and petticoats and nonsense. Mor comments that she doesn't remember it being that way when she was there then. Nowadays, most women wed, bear children, and then plan their children's marriages. Some of the poor might work in the fields, and a rare few are mercenaries or hired soldiers, but the wealthier they are, the more restricted their freedoms and roles become. You'd think that money would buy you the ability to do whatever you pleased.
Damn.
So Mor muses that some of the high fae are the same. She doesn't say it then, but alludes to perhaps she's speaking of her own family, Mor, that is. I find this an interesting background to Prythian, that they've almost reverted to tradwife stuff, where before women held more jobs and were more equal. It seems like women can't get a break on any planet.
Nah, man.
Mor tells her that in the Court of Nightmares, women's virginity is guarded and used as a currency almost, but goes on to say that she was born with an excessive amount of power.
Damn.
More than her whole family, and she had hoped that it would prevent her from being sold off to a husband, that they would recognize that she was meant for something greater. But they, more than anything, wanted to tamper it down. Surely she couldn't be stronger than her own father. Then he would be a pussy. When her bloods come at 17.
She didn't want her bloods to come.
No, because that means something there that's bad. They predictably saw her as a vessel to produce strong boys, not just relishing her strength and letting her choose her own path. Gross. Moore then says that she will not be joining Feyre in the human realm this time, basically saying that she wouldn't be able to behave as they want her to, which makes me love Moore.
I just love Moore. Every more we get about Moore makes me love her more.
I do hope we get a whole Moore book at some point.
We have to, right?
Yeah, I think we will.
Right, Sarah? Right,
Sarah?
please. Come on.
Moore goes on to tell Feyre that Cassian and Rhys were the ones who saved her from her fate in the Court of Nightmares, and that Cassian risked his life to do so, that he doesn't think of himself as good or special because he is lowborn, but that he is in fact better than any male she knew from her past life. Listening to Moore's story causes Feyre to say that she'd like it if her sisters could meet Moore one day, that she'd like them to hear her story, maybe stop being such big babies.
Oh my God, because they believe all that human bullshit about the Fae.
And also that you can still be warm and kind despite being coming from a painful past. Moore replies, "There are good days and hard days for me, even now. Don't let the hard days win." Which is simple and beautiful advice for all of us.
I love you more. Teach me to be like you more.
I want to wear your outfits. I keep trying to find good stuff to cosplay as her, and it's hard. The inner circle minus Moore and Amren probably for obvious reasons of being terrifying, are going to head out to the mortal realm together. To avoid the spring court for Feyre's sake, they are going to fly out to the sea and cross through the wall over the water. They would winnow to the coast and then fly across the wall. She looks at Rhys, and her mind is immediately drawn to his hands on her thighs.
He'd seen and endured such unspeakable things, and yet his hands on my thighs had been gentle, the touch like I didn't let myself finish the thought as I said,
"I'll fly with Azriel."
I love that. Thinking of his hands creeping up her thighs and her just like throbby loins. Be like, I'll fly with somebody else.
Rhys looks flabbergasted at this statement, but Azriel simply says, "Of course."
Ooh, shadow singer.
I don't know how you could choose any of these and be like,
I'd rather him hold me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all prop.
Goo should be slipping out of his arms.
Do you have any Uggos I could fly with?
Please. There's gotta be some Uggo Fae.
That's so sad if they are.
I mean, they're still gonna go. They're gonna get filleted no matter what.
Filleted.
Very different.
So this is the first that we really see a private interaction between Azriel and Feyre. It's really interesting to read the parts with Azriel this time around, now that I've read the bonus chapter from his POV. If you haven't read all the way through yet, I don't think you should read it until the books are completed, because it kind of gives a lot of stuff away. But the Azriel bonus chapter is quite juicy. Just gives you a little more insight into who he is. So in this scene, Feyre and Azriel have sort of a bonding moment as he's flying her over the sea and they have a private conversation. In it, they both reveal that they don't really feel like they fit in anywhere. And we, the readers, are let in that Azriel still feels like an outsider at 550 years old.
It doesn't get easier for him.
We don't get much more here because they reach the wall and Feyre feels its pull much differently as a high fae than when she was mortal. It crackles through her body as the wall was created by all 7 high lords just as she was. And then they're back into Feyre's homeland. At chapter 23, it begins.
It had been a year since I had stalked through that labyrinth of snow and ice and killed a fairy with hate in my heart.
It's only been a year.
Dude, time flies when you're flying in the arms of an Illyrian.
But also you were kept in a dungeon for 3 months.
Yeah, that was a rough part of it, I guess.
Yeah. That's a lot to go through in 1 year. It feels like more like 5 years, but it's just been the one. Feyre approaches the front door of her family's emerald-roofed estate alone, the batmen lying in wait. Their housekeeper opens the door and is immediately afraid of Feyre. She recognizes her, but even with Feyre's ears still covered, she's changed, different. She almost doesn't let Feyre in, but then Elaine hears the commotion appears behind the housekeeper.
Elaine's golden brown hair was half up, her pale skin creamy and flushed with color, and her eyes, like molten chocolate, were wide as they took me in. I'm pointing at Natalie because Natalie's dressed like Elaine right now, and I feel like you have to have like more distant. Yeah, be more sensitive, more distant. Yeah, give it to me. Yep. She's quivering. Oh, she's scared. Oh God, her hands are shaking. She's quivering. Well, it's good. Yeah, more quiver.
Okay.
I gotta add on to the quiver.
Thank you. Okay, I got it. I'm just like Elaine.
Am I sitting next to Elaine right now?
Yeah, people say I'm just like Elaine.
I would say I think Elaine, I could speak for both of us, is the character, including all of the male characters that we identify with least.
Yeah, which is not to say we might learn a lot about her in the Elaine book. We don't know.
I think that she's going to get a lot cooler.
I think so too. There's been like fan speculations that she's going to become Dark Elaine, which is fair.
Yes. Like Riverdale, like Dark Betty.
I don't know.
You don't get us Riverdale heads.
I don't. I'm sorry, but I support you.
Thank you.
So in Elaine fashion, she is overjoyed to see her sister and begins to weep. In true Nesta fashion, without a greeting, she commands the housekeeper to put on tea. And that's the closest she'll get to welcoming her sister back into their home.
Thanks, Nesta.
Feyre sits alone with her sisters and asks where her father is.
Lord knows, a surprise he's not there.
Nesta informs her that he is in an area called Neva, attending a summit about a looming threat above the wall.
Because he's never gonna take care of you, bitch.
Wow.
Stop caring about your father. He's toxic.
I don't know. There might be. We don't know enough about her father yet.
Yeah. But at this point in time,
maybe never. Maybe he's never going to be nothing but a scumbag. Elaine tells Feyre that they are both happy to see her. But as Feyre takes this moment in to reveal her ears, they are both stunned and shaken. She informs them that she was in fact dead and the Fae have resurrected her. Because as you recall, they haven't seen her since she left to go save Tamlin from under the mountain.
yeah, back when she was human.
Yeah. Before they can reply, she tells them to listen to her. She has to let them know that they are in danger. And she tells them the full tale of what's occurred since she left that home a half a year ago to save her High Lord. She tells them that the threat of the King of Hybern is near and her desire to have the queens of the mortal realm meet in their estates at the Archeron family estate.
They were working in the bridal shop and blushing queens and the wife kicked her out in one of those crushing scenes.
Mr. Sheffield!
Yeah, they all come in and they all have great fits on.
Actually, I could totally see Rhys as Mr. Sheffield.
Ooh, yeah.
Putting on musicals.
That's what he does instead of being a badass High Lord. He produces musicals instead, although very into it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Nesta, in Nesta fashion, immediately says absolutely not. Feyre pleads, but Nesta will have none of it. She doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want any of these Fae near Elaine.
Ugh.
She doesn't want them to be known as fairy-likers, especially with Elaine's wedding coming up. What?
Whoa, mic drop.
It's then Feyre notices that Elaine is wearing an engagement ring. Not only that, but her betrothed family are Fae hunters.
No, Elaine, no, you can't.
Oh, no, Elaine. Nesta says no Fae will enter her home and seems to imply that that includes Feyre. She's so brutal.
I know, dude. Nesta, take a chill pill. You need therapy. And you need to get laid in a good fashion. You need something to relax. Think of the frown lines.
I also, you have all this luxury in your house. Doesn't that make you, slightly more happy?
So grumpo.
But then Elaine actually steps up. She points out that there won't even be a wedding if their entire village is wiped out.
Truth.
She uncharacteristically pushes back against Nesta and says that they must send the servants away and help Feyre, help all of the humans. Nesta seems moved by this. I don't think as much from Elaine's words, more so because Elaine actually stood up to her. So Nesta concedes. She agrees to begin the process of sending the servants off with paid leave. As Elaine goes off to speak with the help, Feyre asks Nesta if she approves of Elaine's fiancé, whose name is Grayson. Nesta says she thinks the family's estate looks like a prison. Nesta questions how it didn't work out with her High Lord after all that happened.
Like you care. Don't pretend like you care. She just wants to know, like, oh, did you get your heart broken? I bet you got your heart broken.
Feyre says that it couldn't work because of all that had happened, that she had to leave him, that Tamlin broke under the mountain and never really came back. Feyre asked Nesta if she would meet her new court. Her new court, huh? That's a mouthful.
Whoa.
The Batmen enter the estate at the start of
They
chapter.
said, why did you let us here? I was trying to do a Batman impression. I am Batman. I know Christian Bale is not in the room right now. It's me. It's Jackie. Guys,
Okay,
I
so
know.
that was supposed to be the Christian Bale
That was-
version. Okay, it could have been.
Yeah, didn't you get that from my impression?
Absolutely. I thought maybe it was the Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yeah.
They enter the estate at the start of chapter 24, their first interaction with the Archeron sisters, now that the servants are gone. Being alone with them, Feyre finally removes her cloak and reveals her very non-human attire, including the night court pants she's chosen and a crown. atop her
Yes,
head.
wear that crown, bitch. My sisters both stiffened at Cassian and Azriel, at those mighty wings tucked in tight to powerful bodies, at the weapons, and then at the devastatingly beautiful faces of all three males. Elaine, to her credit, did not faint, and Nesta, to hers, did not hiss at them.
As she introduces them, she speaks her family name for the first time in a very long time, Archeron. She reflects on how after she killed her first rabbit to feed her family, she stopped using her father's name. The men are all polite enough, but Feyre can sense and hear her sister's terror at these massive hulking batmen.
They're so big.
Nesta simply directs them all to the dinner table where the cook has left dinner set out before she left. The dinner starts out terse,
Yeah.
I would say. As they begin to serve out the dishes, Feyre realizes that the human food now tastes like poop and perhaps doesn't do a good job of hiding her distaste of the food.
Well, you certainly love to cover yourself in poop, so maybe you should start eating poop now too, Feyre.
Well, Nesta's very not impressed. Oh, I'm sorry. Is our disgusting dirt food a problem for you? So you can't eat normal food anymore, or are you too good for it?
A question and a challenge.
Feyre's temper is rising right along with her, so she responds,
I laid my hand flat on the table.
I can eat, drink, fuck, and fight just as well as I did before. Better even.
Damn.
Everyone's preparing for a Jerry Springer takedown situation to occur, but Rhys tries to calm it down by suggesting that Nesta come to Prithian to try their food.
I wonder how it tastes. Don't you just like if our human food is just nothing food? How good is it? Think of the cheese. I bet they
I'm
have
thinking
really
of the
good
pies
cheese
and pastries.
Oh yeah, that too.
and cakes. Nesta pretty rudely says that she doesn't want to be anywhere near your bullshit, sir. Through this, Cassian is staring Nesta down as though he's found a new sparring opponent. What are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
Cassian kind of rips her a new one here, and she deserves it. He tells her he's looking at a woman who let her 14-year-old sister walk into the dark to save her entire family while she sat and did nothing. That Feyre saved his people, and he won't sit by while she insults her. Nesta just ignores him.
Yes, Cassian.
Yeah, I'm proud of Cassian.
I'm
for standing
so
up.
proud of Cassian for just being like, no, man, where were you? You didn't step up. And now you're going to be a bitch to her when she didn't have a choice in becoming High Fae?
I imagine that's the first time anyone's ever said that aloud to the sisters.
Yeah.
Elaine tries to smooth it over, saying that they just are afraid and don't understand the Fae, and mentions that they're scared because Claire Better and her family, they went through all that, and both Feyre and Rhys freeze because the sisters still don't know what happened to her. But they continue on forward. Elaine acknowledges that they, in fact, both sisters failed Feyre. Then they go back to eating and try to move forward with after that awkward interaction.
Ooh, real awkward.
Elaine asks if Azriel can truly fly. It's a very sweet interaction with Azriel explaining that they can and that it can be very scary. They go on to discuss the difference.
Man, Azriel's such a daddy.
Yeah.
He's such like a, take care of me, Azriel. But how can he when he's so traumatized?
He is like brutal as he can be. He can be very gentle. He almost seems like he is more comfortable around people who need like protecting a little bit.
Yeah. But he's not like suffocating with it the way Tamlin is.
No. But it's interesting because he's seems to be deeply in love with a woman who is not like that at all.
Ouch, man. Ouch and a half. Oh, we're going to get into that.
Oh, we will. So they go on to discuss the difference between high fae and their kind and just have like a dinner conversation. As this somewhat tense dinner wraps up, Rhys asks if they can stay the night and that they'll need 2 rooms next to each other. That evening, the group drafts a letter to the queens, which the 2 Archeron sisters will take to the village to be mailed off. At bedtime, we find out that Azriel and Cassian will be in one room and Rhys and Feyre will be in the other.
Oh. What?
There's no funny business to be had this night.
No, I mean, she's in her home with the sisters. Like, it's already uncomfortable. I can't imagine feeling too sexy after a dinner like that.
Like going home for Christmas.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's not the sexiest time period.
That being said, we get a scene that develops Rhys and Feyre's relationship as they talk about her sisters and the Bat Boys. There is a level of bonding that occurs when Feyre returns from changing in the bathroom, and she comes to discover that Rhysand had warmed her bed up with magic so that she wouldn't be cold when she got in.
Can't we just go ahead and say that that's a really nice plus of being magic, that they can just warm up the bed as if you've been laying in it, but then you could just get into a nice warm bed when it's cold outside. Mm-hmm. I want to be Fae.
No, it sucks. He also reveals that he felt deep rage at her sisters for letting her walk into the woods alone.
Yeah, dude.
Feyre counters with, well, we wouldn't be here right now if they didn't, because we went through all this and I saved your people. But, you know, you got to look at the bright side of things sometimes. He asks her when her birthday is, and she reveals it is the winter solstice. He seems surprised by that.
Which I'm surprised, because when you're really trying to court, you know, he didn't even bother to ask what sign she is. You know, didn't care for a second, but that's how you really get to know people.
But that is like a thing that I guess Tamlin never even asked her what her birthday was before.
Yeah, dude.
So she says, is that so hard to believe? In reference to her birthday being on the winter solstice. My mother claimed that I was so withdrawn and strange because I was born on the longest night of the year.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, her mom seems like piece of work.
Like a Nesta.
Yeah. Nesta was her favorite, as we'll learn. The next morning, Rhys and Feyre go out to the forest to practice controlling Feyre's magic. So they're still in the mortal realm at this point. They are full in flirty banter mode, where she's sort of needling him and he's pretending to be put out. In this conversation, he explains to her where the Illyrian steps are.
Oh, she's got her toes. God, she's got her pointer.
If you'll note, at the top of the Night Court, they're at the edge of the Illyrian territories. So,
and even though steps is spelled like stepes, but maybe we should call it the Illyrian stepes.
Right here is where that happens. And then the very tip top is where the Illyrian mountains are and where the Illyrians train.
I bet it's cold up there. There must be some Illyrians in the atmosphere. Thank you.
So that's where that is at the north. As you'll recall, she wasn't permitted to see the layout of the Night Court when she first arrived because he kept the whole part of the Night Court map blank from her. So then he instructs her to light a candle, douse it with water, and dry it with wind using only her magic. She eyes him and then asks him to leave because he is distracting her.
Get out of here. He's distracting me. They're in such flirty bird mode, too.
I can't concentrate with you around.
I admitted.
And go far. I can feel you from a room away.
A suggestive curve shaped his lips.
She's like, not like that.
No, that's not what she means.
He says he'll go away and she can shout down the bond for him to return.
I frowned at the eye in my palm.
What? Literally shout at the tattoo? You could try rubbing it on certain body parts and I might come faster.
Wow. Wow.
And then he disappears. But Feyre realizes what he said in that moment and it actually makes her laugh, which is substantial because that bee never
Nah,
be
man.
smiling.
She's not a smiley kind of gal.
Hours later, Feyre hasn't had any success in doing anything to the candle. She takes a break and finds a note from Rhys along with a pen. In the note, he asks if she's made any progress. It turns out this is a form of Fae texting.
Yeah.
She writes back, "No, you snoop. Don't you have any important things to do?" They go back and forth, and eventually he writes, "Life is better when you're around. And look at how lovely your handwriting is."
He's being a flirty bat.
For all that Feyre acts annoyed with him, she's really starting to let some walls down.
A faint smile curved my lips.
"You're a shameless flirt,"
I wrote back.
She seems awful excited to see what he writes back to that. But before we find out, a hand clamps over her mouth and she's dragged off her feet.
Bum, bum, bum. A rasping voice sounded in my ear.
Stop, or I'll snap your neck.
I knew that voice. It prowled through my nightmares. The adder.
Oh no, the adder!
Ah, it's back. Anta's back. All right. And not in a boy band way.
No. Before we can get too scared, Rhys explodes into the forest, now free of his shackles from Amarantha. The Adhor is like the buzzing of flies to him.
Yes, he's so much stronger than he is.
Rhys binds it to a tree and shoots spears through its wings. They interrogate the adder and are able to get the info that it was sent by the King of Highburn to take Feyre, though it claims it doesn't know why. It then goes on to say that the armies of Highburn are endless, that they have allies in every territory. Just then, Azriel slams down into the snow.
He's our savior.
Here we get to see the Shadow Singer version of Azriel, of the person he has to become to do the sort of terrible things that he has to do.
And yet I'm so attracted to it. I shouldn't be.
It's almost like women are attracted to bad boys.
Oh, what? I never heard that before.
I know. Azriel grips the adder and winnows away. Actually, Feyre isn't even sure if it's winnowing or some other like power because she's never seen Azriel do so. Feyre wants to know if Azriel will kill him. No.
I shivered at the raw power glazing his taut body. I can't say that without getting turned on. Raw power glazing his taut body?
Yeah. I mean, it's horny, for sure. We'll use him to send a message to Highburn that if they want to hunt the members of my court, they'll have to do better than that.
I started at the claim he'd made of me and at the words.
You knew he was hunting me? So he says member of his court.
Whoa. Well, they are working together now.
But then it hits her that he knew that she would likely be attacked when he left.
Damn, just throwing her out there to the wolves, but he knows that she can handle it.
He's quite cocky about it. And yes, he would do it again. She was never in any danger. Feyre's furious. How dare he not tell her? And I think she's right at this point. That's a fucked up thing to do, using her as bait without telling her, even if you knew that she'd be safe. She pushes him, and they both seem surprised at how strong she is.
Yes.
He tells her she's forgotten her strength and that she stopped fighting. He begins to bait her, rage bait her. He's being a real Matt Walsh right now. She goes to push him, and he winnows a few feet back. Her anger intensifies, and she storms towards him. He winnows again and appears behind her, whispering in her ear. She whips around, and he's gone again, laughing, daring her to follow him again and again until she wants to hit him so badly she figures out how to winnow.
Time slowed and curled, and I could see the darkness of him turn to smoke and veer, as if it were running for another spot in the clearing. I hurtled for that spot, even as I felt my own lightness, folding my very self into wind and shadow and dust, the looseness of it radiating out of me, all while I aimed for where he was headed. And his eyes were wide, his mouth split in a grin of wicked delight as I winnowed in front of him and tackled him into the snow.
And then we get a very classic will they, won't they device where she tumbles on top of him. And she's mad, but now they're like pressed against each other.
Oh my God. And then thinking about him just between her legs, hands on her thighs, looking up at her.
Chapter 27 opens on her sprawled on top of him, having succeeded in knocking him over. But as delighted as Rhys is that Feyre just winnowed, she's still boiling angry. Don't ever use me as bait again. Talons appear from her fingers, so you know she means business. She's mad. She says, if you want to work with me, don't use me. Treat me like an inanimate object to toss around at your leisure. If he isn't willing to give her that respect, she's done helping him.
Despite the snow, his body was warm beneath me, and I wasn't sure I'd realize just how much bigger he was until our bodies were flush. Too close. Much, much too close.
And he yields. And he yields. Fair enough that she should know what's happening. He tries to get her to attempt winnowing again, but she's had it for today. She wants to go back to the estate. He finally seems to understand how upset she is. I'm sorry, he says. Too little, too late, Buster.
Yes.
He requests to, let's go eat breakfast and then we'll go home. And she says, Valaris isn't my home.
I could have sworn hurt flashed in his eyes before he spirited us back to my family's house.
Ouch. They return to the Archeron estate and eat breakfast with the sisters.
It could be your home. You just have to let it into your heart.
Let it into your heart.
Come on. I mean, this isn't your home. The estate certainly isn't home.
That's why her and Asriel don't know where they fit in.
I know.
So they return to the Archeron estate and eat breakfast with the sisters. Az is gone, off with wherever he went to look the adder, and Cassian had left earlier. A new feud seemingly formed between he and Nesta, one that he found amusing and one that she found maddening.
He'd given Nesta a mocking bow, and she'd given him a vulgar gesture I hadn't realized she knew how to make. Cassian had merely laughed, his eyes snaking over Nesta's ice blue gown with a predatory intent that, given her hiss of rage, he knew would set her spitting. Just him looking her up and down, that's just pissing her off even more. Sploosh.
Is it? I don't know. Things are still tense between Feyre and Rhys, and as they leave the cold of the mortal realm and fly back through the wall, wait, we gotta look at the map.
Oh! We got Pointer Girl.
Feyre's village. Then they go out, they winnow here, then they go across the sea. Oh, and they fly, and then they get back somewhere in here and winnow back to the night court. Okay?
It's gotta be sexy scary.
Yeah, sexy scary for sure. And they don't really speak on this trip back. He leaves her at the townhouse in Valaris, off to do lord things with the Atter. Feyre sits at the house gobbling some scones. I think a slight nod to the fact that Feyre's appetite has returned. Soon, Rhys comes back. She jumps to her feet and thinks to herself how relieved she is that he doesn't seem harmed.
Wow, she really cares, doesn't she?
Despite herself. He tells her if she wants to know the method with which they extract information, she can, but it is unpleasant. She says she wants to know the truth, all of it. So he allows her back into the antechamber of his mind, and she witnesses a rehashing of what's just occurred. That Asriel's knife, named Truth Teller, has done some damage to this creature. Feyre can hear a replay of Rhys's thoughts when she enters them, and Rhys muses on how Asriel is actually more animalistic than Cassian, though people assume the opposite due to Cassian's bombastic nature. But an icy rage lives in Az that Rhys has never seen thaw over these centuries.
Seems like he needs somebody to warm him up.
Yeah.
He needs to be warmed from the inside out. Maybe me?
I don't know if I want a freezing cold weenie in me, though.
No, but that's why we help him and we fix him until the weenie's warm.
Get it all.
I would say, a warm a ween, a warm a ween, a warm a ween, a warm a ween. We warm up the ween before we put it inside of us.
Don't do this, though.
Why? I was doing a shuffle grabble at the penis.
I don't think that's going to help anyone. So Rhys blames Azriel's brothers for this icy rage, whose legs he recalls shattering when he got old enough. If you'll recall, Az's brothers were the ones who burned his hands up.
This poor man, I just want to fix him.
The Adder taunts Rhys with the fact that the Spring Court has not forgotten what he did, a.k.a., quote-unquote, stole Feyre. And then that this can be used to Hybern's advantage, the Spring Court being raging against the Night Court. The Adder reveals what information it has, and then Rhys commands Az to break its legs, rip its wings, and dump it at the coast of Hybern to send as a message.
Man, they are really good at sending messages. Like, hear you loud and clear. Like the head on the spike in the first book, where I'm just like, man, Night Court be sending messages.
But the first severed head was really Amarantha.
Yeah. But they blame the Night Court.
They did. And they have to constantly be shown as like these monsters. They have an army of great size, according to the Adder, and they are a massive threat. Feyre tumbles out of this memory, and Rhys again apologizes to Feyre for earlier and means it sincerely.
And this, letting me into his mind, a peace offering.
I need to write a letter. And it's a letter.
Oh,
my
man.
goodness.
I left of my own free will. I am cared for and safe. I am grateful for all that you did for me, all that you gave. Please don't come looking for me. I'm not coming back.
She's decided. She's not going.
That's it. Can you imagine how angry you would be if this is all? It's like the broke up with me with the Post-it. Speaking of Sex and the City, that like this is just you're getting a Post-it being like, oh great, so I am broken up with.
Well,
great to know.
I will say, even if I don't hate Tamlin, if you get violent with somebody, they have the right to break up.
You're right. In this situation, yes. I'm just saying outside. No, Natalie's going to hurt me.
No, I won't.
She's got the pointer and everything. I know why you got that pointer. No. I think that like maybe a phone call.
They don't have phones, though.
But they got that texting. They got the text magic.
Ugh. Then you have to...
I think it's because I'm reading Crescent City. This is the problem. These things get jumbled in my brain.
Yeah, they do sometimes. This message is probably spurred on by the fact that the Spring Court will be a hostile threat to the Night Court, but still, she doesn't seem too broken up about it. I think she's kind of done. And with that note written, she feels a level of freedom. It's like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders. Have you ever had one of those breakups where it was a long time coming, even if you pretended that it wasn't, and then first day when you finally get it out and it's over, it's like,
yeah, dude,
you,
like that picture of Nicole Kidman of her with the divorce papers. I completely understand. And then it's always the same people that are like, I can't believe you moved on and started dating so fast. It's like, yeah, because my relationship was dead for a long time, and I was ready for someone else by the time it was actually officially over.
Right. That she's kind of exhibiting that feeling, though, of like somebody who was like way ready to be broken up with somebody else, because as soon as that letter goes out, you see this like shift in her emotions.
Yeah, dude.
It's like being reborn.
Or remade, cauldron bless.
Woo! She wants to know what next, what's going to happen now. He's like, maybe you should go rest. And she says, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to decide, and I want to get loco.
Yes. Enough. I'd had enough of sleeping. I said,
you told me that the city was better seen at night. Are you all talk, or will you ever bother to show me?
A low laugh as he looked me over. I didn't recoil from his gaze. Man, there's something, the way that Sarah, yes, I'm calling her by her first name now, the way that Sarah writes someone looking you up and down, that is such a, man, because like just think in your head when you, like the person that you crush on so hard, if they look you up and down, does that not make you want to explode?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Again, this also still just makes me think of being like a teenager and that the boy who you do like, who you didn't accidentally send to your best friend's arms, is responding. And you're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, he's looking at me.
I'm looking you up and down.
Yeah. So she observes what she perceives as a real genuine smile from Rhys, one that few people get to see. Dinner tonight, he says, if she will allow a Lord of Night to take her on the town.
Oh my God, take me on the town, Rhys.
As Feyre's getting ready for dinner, we find out through her thoughts that apparently everyone's going to dinner with them.
Oh no, it's like my first date with Jeff when I brought you and Henry.
Well, that was fair because it was like you guys had only known each other for a very brief amount of time.
Yeah, and I was nervous, and I was like, it's not a date. So I brought Henry and Natalie with me, and then he also brought a friend to also do the, it's not a date. There's no pressure on this.
It was technically very much, it was a
Cute.
casual meet
Yes. But we did kiss. I don't mean to spoiler alert it. That yes, I did kiss my husband, and it was really
Harlot.
cute. Yeah,
Before your marriage?
I'm just such a little crone. I'm a baby crone. What's not a crone? Maiden. I'm a baby crone.
Baby crone. Born a crone. So as she finds out they're all going to dinner with him, and in her thoughts, I think I catch a slight tone of, what was that? Maybe
A
disappointment?
little bit.
She doesn't openly say it, but it, like the way it's written, you're like, oh, you're a little bummed out here.
Yeah, dude.
Archeron enters the room and calls Nuala and Ceridwen skittish because they scamper away when Archeron appears. Wraiths tend to be, she says. Feyre's confused because she thought they were high fae, and Archeron informs. And sorry, guys.
You're all good.
Towards the end of the episode, I'm just like,
Yeah, dude.
Feyre is confused because she thought they were high fae, and Archeron informs her that they are half wraith, half high fae. Wraiths saw nothing but shadow and mist, able to walk through walls, stone, you name it. I don't even want to know how those two were conceived. High fae will stick their cocks anywhere.
But also, let's think about this for a second. If it was a high fae, does that mean the high fae stuck its dick into the shadows
I would
and
imagine.
came into the mist?
I would imagine, because the other way doesn't, for some reason, makes less sense to me.
Yeah.
I feel like the mother was the wraith. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
It does make you kind of wonder how that worked.
Yeah. Or sometimes you just come into the mist and see what grows. Just come into the corner, come into some boots, maybe get baby boots. Like, I don't know. See what sprouts.
Baby boots are cute. During their conversation, Feyre asks when the Night Court tithe is, and Amron's like, "What tithe? That's some spring courtish." So I don't know what you're talking about.
Night Court is just better in so many ways.
Then Feyre hands back the amulet to Archeron that Archeron gave her to protect her inside the prison. Archeron hands it right back to her. "Keep it. There's no magic in it."
Damn.
Feyre shooketh.
The magic was in her all along.
I tried to harmonize it.
Thank you. No, it worked.
But you said it was magic. Amron's like, "You needed to feel brave and strong, so I gave you something to feel brave and strong." Rhys was probably looking at it warily because he gave it to me 200 years ago and was probably wondering what I was up to. She leaves the room with the breezy, "You're welcome."
Oh, she doesn't say it like that, yeah.
You're welcome. Feyre's just like, whoa, these fae. We just went really long, so we need to wrap this up here. We're gonna start next week with a night on the town in Valaris.
I think we can be open with everyone. We didn't realize how long we'd been talking about these chapters.
Sorry, guys. Not really sorry, though.
I could just talk about it forever, and then all of a sudden it's like, is it an hour 45? Oh,
it's
yeah,
dinner
I guess we should
time.
wrap this up.
Oh, great. I literally have to go to the dentist in 20 minutes.
Well, we gotta wrap her up
I'm
now.
gonna have to go in this costume.
Oh no, you're gonna go dressed as Elaine.
I don't have any other clothes.
Oh
with me.
no, I can give you my corset.
I don't know if that's any better. Oh fuck.
You have to go dressed like Elaine.
I legit have to go to the dentist right now. Oh my god. This episode went too long. It's completely my fault. I'll let you all know how that goes. Oh my god. All right, we do have to wrap it up now. Join us next week.
Yeah.
Yes, bye. I gotta go to the dentist.
Bye, guys.
Oh my god.